What's up, guys? AEW Revolution just ended, and here are my thoughts. And may I just say, right before I start, go watch my predictions video. I got every single one right. I've never gotten an AEW one all right. I got the last WWE Premium Live Event predictions correct with the Elimination Chamber, but that was pretty predictable. This one was super unpredictable, and I got every single match right. So if you show that video some love, I'd appreciate it. And Steven Larson, I'm going to tag you in this video. If you guys can please tag Steven Larson. They're known to drop their star ratings really quickly, unlike those other guys. And today, guys, you're the other guys. You're going to get way more views than I am. You're going to get way more engagement. But I want to say I love what you guys do, and I wanted to get a star rating video out before you guys. I thought if I could do that, that'd be huge. So go check them out. Going in Raw, Friendo Club Wrestling, Wrestle, Juice, all those things. They do great stuff. I love watching them. But let's get into the review. So we start off with Christian Cage successfully retaining the TNT Championship against Daniel Garcia, and it kind of went how I thought it was going to go. Outside interference with Christian Cage's family, if you will, and it keeps Garcia strong. It keeps Christian Cage's historic reign, and I say historic because I really think he's on the run of his career. I think by the time this is all said and done, this reign is going to really define his career, especially for the back half of it. And so I think it was exactly what it needed to be. I think we're working towards a Copeland Cage blow-off match where maybe Copeland takes the TNT title, or maybe he screws him out of the title, a la what was that? Jericho and Michaels 2008 with Kofi winning the IC belt. I think Night of Champions, if I'm not mistaken. So maybe we're going to have a situation like that. Now, I could have seen that being the case with Garcia. Maybe it is down the road. Maybe somebody else, like Action Andrade or something, make a star-making title victory. But I gave this 3.5 out of 5 stars. I think exactly what it was meant to be. Good way to kick off the show. Then you had just what I think was one of the matches that kind of stole the show. Eddie Kingston successfully defending the Continental Crown Championship against Bryan Danielson. Bryan Danielson is one of my favorite wrestlers. He's in my top 25, which I know makes it seem like he's not one of my favorites, but he is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. He can tell a great story as either a heel or a face, and this whole story of Kingston having to earn Danielson's respect through this whole matchup, and that if Danielson lost, he had to shake Kingston's hand. Really great storytelling. A good hard-fought match. I gave this one 4.25 out of 5. That was really strong showing by both guys. And I really love seeing Kingston kind of come out on top on these matches as of late. And he's kind of dissecting and taking apart the Blackpool Combat Club members and all these great, really strong, high-profile matches. So another good match to follow up the opener from Cage and Garcia. Wardlow then won the All-Star Scramble match, which was the right call. I mean, look, the winner got an AEW World Championship shot. I think the only other one that legitimately felt like maybe would have been Jericho after the whole Golden Jets situation kind of fell apart with Kenny. He seems like he's just, and he's been kind of fighting the Callis family, but it just kind of feels like he's floundering a bit, if you will, especially with some of the situation that happened with him kind of towards the end of last year. So Wardlow seemed like the only reasonable choice, and I think that he was a strong showing from him, and he really dominated the match well. And as we'll see throughout the rest of this review, the Undisputed Kingdom really showed out tonight, which was great to see, as I kind of predicted in my predictions video. So, yeah, right call. 3 out of 5 stars. Just a solid match. Nothing to write home about, but got the job done and told the story that it set out to tell. Roderick Strong did win the AEW International Championship from Orange Cassidy. I love both these guys. I've loved Strong for a long time. I loved Cassidy for really long time. One of my favorite wrestlers from AEW in the last 5 years. And even before AEW, I'd seen a little bit of his stuff and always thought he was very entertaining. And I think that this match maybe underwhelmed compared to expectations. But Roderick Strong coming out looking like $1 million. And then of course, like the big speaking point from this whole thing was Kyle O'Reilly showing up and celebrating with Roderick Strong, and then a little bit of a tense, what did he whisper in Strong's ear? So I give this 3.5 out of 5. The same score as like Cage versus Garcia. And so it was a really great, not great, but really, really good match, a solid match. I think it just kind of underperformed probably what we were expecting from this kind of matchup, especially what we've seen from Orange Cassidy, some of these other international championship matchups over the past year or so. But overall, really solid showing and a great storytelling after the match. In what easily could have been the match of the night, one heck of a hard-hitting, incredible masterclass of tag team wrestling. We saw Jon Moxley and Claudio Castagnoli defeat FTR, and with Blackpool Combat Club coming out with like the LOD pads and just a great tone for the match. It was, I mean, like, when Moxley gets into a match, it's gonna be violent. That FTR are masters in tag team wrestling and brawling, and it was like a really well crafted, believable tag team matchup. That spot where Mox, and I can't remember, it was Cash or Dax he had on his shoulders, but then Claudio kind of did like a run up the ropes and then kind of a springboard off the top with a European uppercut. Just stuff like that really, really made it engaging for like 20 minutes. It just kind of flew by. So I give this one 4.5 out of 5 stars, and I think the right team won. I think Mox and Castagnoli told a good story of them being like a cohesive unit in the face of a team that was way more experienced as a team. And like I said earlier, I didn't see the Blackpool Combat Club losing all their matches in one night. So happy I got that one right. That was maybe one of my 2 biggest toss-ups of a match. But I think for tag team wrestling, exceptionally done. 4.5 out of 5 for me. Timeless Toni Storm defeating Deonna Purrazzo to retain the Women's Championship. Again, very similar to Christian Cage with some shenanigans. I gave it 3.25 out of 5. I liked Mariah May coming out, kind of like as old school Toni Storm. I thought that was a nice touch. We saw a lot of really cool throwback entrances tonight. For me, I like Timeless Toni Storm. I think it's a great gimmick. There's something a little off for me, and I can't even place my finger on what it is, that kind of affects the matches that she has. I think the gimmick and the storytelling is good, but then the matches always feel a little underwhelming. And I kind of compare it to what we expected with Roderick Strong and Orange Cassidy. I think with Purrazzo and Storm, you expect a little bit more. It was good. It was decent. 3.25 out of 5. Nothing bad. But a little lacking for me. But at the end of the day, I think it was the right call. Storm is on a great run, very similar to Christian Cage. Keep that momentum riding. I think we're going to see Mariah May eventually maybe be the person to take that title away from Toni Storm. I think that's the eventual story plays out, or Mariah May is the one who cost Toni Storm the title to whoever she loses it to down the road. But all in all, this matchup was not offensive in any way. It was a decent match, 3.25 out of 5. Next up, we had my match of the night. Everybody could say he might be overrated. I just don't think he is. And I know a lot of people say Dave Meltzer loves him, and Meltzer's one guy. But guys, there's a reason he's so loved by that reviewer, and he's so loved by so many wrestling fans. Will Ospreay and Takeshita tore the house down. This is a 5-star match. This was incredible. Takeshita, credit to him, he's had a couple of really great matches, a couple of 5-star showings with both Ospreay and Omega over the last year, and I think that this match it really sets the pace for Ospreay's career in AEW, and I think we're going to see a lot more from him in terms of just high quality, high pace, action packed, great storytelling matches. And I really can't wait to see where they take him. I think you can't not have him in your main event scene, right? He's just that guy. He's the guy who's going to get eyes on the product for you if you have him in your promotion. You could say the same thing about Ricochet, right? Which in Lucha Underground he was, but when he came to WWE, they kind of dropped the ball with him. So it all depends on how AEW wants to use Will Ospreay. But also, AEW has, quite frankly, a bloated roster. So It all depends on what Tony Khan and AEW as a whole want to do with Ospreay. I think they see him as a really big deal. They're going to put in the effort to make him and keep him a big deal. So maybe we see him continue to grow. But if this is the starting off point, I can't wait to see where he goes from here. So 5 stars for me, match of the night. Now, if you want to talk about storytelling, the triple threat match for the AEW World Championship between Samoa Joe, Hangman Adam Page, and Swerve Strickland was great. And man, did I call it. Page and Swerve just screwing each other over constantly. And the ending of Page tapping out to Joe so that Swerve doesn't win the title. Great. Incredible storytelling. This got 4 stars from me. I think that it's always hard with a triple threat to keep one singular story going all the way through, keep the action built up all the way through. I thought these 3 guys, like I said in my prediction video, 3 of my favorite wrestlers in AEW, all very technically sound, fast-paced, hard-hitting. Like, it was really solid. I think the career-making moment of Swerve winning would have taken this to 5 stars, probably, because I think that's where we're heading, and I think that's going to be a huge pop of a moment, but I don't think we're there yet, and when it does happen, if the match is solid, I really see it could be a 5-star moment. It's you kind of throw in the Samoa Joe's kind of the third wheel, right? Like, and the champ being the third wheel, I think also hurt this a little bit. We had some great lines in the build up to this, like Swerve saying that he was going to send Joe back to commentary with a poncho and stuff like that, which I think added to the intrigue and didn't make Samoa Joe feel like an afterthought, but he definitely felt like a third wheel in the match, which I think impacted the score a little bit for me as well. But these guys couldn't have put on a bad match, even if they tried. So 4 stars for me, and another one, I got it right, which was just, I don't know how to pull it off, guys. I feel on cloud 9 about this. And speaking of cloud 9, holy cow, Sting's last match. I don't know what to think about Sting being retired, like actually retired. When I first started watching wrestling, Sting, he was like the Crow, and he was starting that whole like silent observer from afar part of the storyline. So I always knew Sting as like this vigilante, and always loved him for that. And then as I grew up and became more of a wrestling historian and fan, I really appreciated like Surfer Sting and kind of all of that, that like huge like vanilla babyface push he had, and his bouts of Flair and Luger and his whole hiss in the Horsemen, and like how he was always getting betrayed, and how, you know, Sting never should trust anybody, but he always does. He always gets screwed. All the way through up until TNA. I loved him in TNA. I was a huge TNA mark back in the day. And seeing him now, you know, with his sons on stage, dressed up as him from NWO Wolfpack Sting and Surfer Sting. And it's a little emotional, man. It's a little crazy to think that he won't ever wrestle again. And man, I love that he won. I called it. Tony Khan wasn't going to let him go out without like a feel-good moment. So him picking up the win via submission was great. Ricky the Dragon Steamboat, Ric Flair being there was awesome. It was a great way to cap off the show. It was crazy. Darby Allin needs to calm down with some of these bumps he's taking. But it was a really fun match. I think the emotion of it got to me a little bit. I gave it 4.25 out of 5. And what a storied career. What a legend. Sting, thank you for everything. You are an icon. You know, it's not just a gimmick. You are a true icon of the business. We appreciate you. We love you. Go enjoy retirement. I'm excited to see what they do with the tag belts now. Like I said in my prediction video, I see them vacating them, and we're going to have possibly a tournament, and maybe we'll get another Blackpool Combat Club versus FTR, or we get the Bucks and FTR4, or maybe it's a whole nother route they're going to go. But yeah, great way to end the show with Sting and Darby retaining. All right, guys, that's my review. Overall, this show, one of the best AEW pay-per-views I think I've ever seen. Do I give it a 10 out of 10? I don't think I give it a 10 out of 10. I think it's like a 9.5 out of 10. So we'll go 9.5 out of 10. Really solid. I think there was a couple things that felt a little underwhelming, like the international championship match, like Joe feeling like a little bit of after or like a third wheel in his own with his own championship, being the champion in that match, and like Cage and Garcia was good, but a little predictable. Overall, though, one of the best pay-per-views I've ever seen from them. Hey, Mr. Satsu's app. This is random, but like for me, it was a personal mission to hit all of these. I love you. You're probably my favorite wrestling YouTuber. Let's go head to head next time. I'm calling you out. Let's go head to head in a prediction video. Let's collab. If you guys follow Mr. Santi's app, please blow him up. Let him know. I'm going to tag him in this video. I've thrown down the gauntlet. Steve Larson. I'm going to throw it to you now. I've challenged you in getting your reviews out before me next time. Let's see if you can do it. Thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you. Let me know down below your scores for all the matches, your view on the show, and like the video, subscribe to the channel, all that fun stuff. I'll see you soon.